Hey, what's up? It's Jerad. I wanted to talk to you guys about the DJI Osmo. Now, I have had an Osmo in the past and did a video on the Osmo, the original Osmo, as it came with the standard camera. However, there were some shortcomings that I felt that the Osmo had, and in order for me to give it a fair try, I waited around until the X5 adapter came out so that I could mount the X5 gimbal on top of it that I have from my Inspire 1 Pro. So finally I did receive the adapter after a long wait, but I wanted to give it a try again. I went and ordered an Osmo handle, extra battery. I ordered the battery that you could plug into an external battery so that you can get longer lifespan out of it. I have adapters that I've used so that I could mount it to different things. Like I've tried using this Osmo in several different situations. And what I've found is that it's cool, but it's not. And so let me explain that a little bit. Like when you look at this, it's super cool looking. I'm not gonna lie. Like whenever I take this out and I shoot with it, it's a showstopper. Like people stop and look at it and they're like, what the heck is that? It's awesome looking, you know, what is it doing? It's a camera, right? And I get lots of questions from people. It's a cool new piece of technology and it's really kind of showy. Like people see it and they're like, wow, that's neat. But in its overall performance, it lacks in several ways. And so let me try and break those down. I'm going to be talking primarily about this configuration with the X5 camera. I do have a different lens than what comes standard with the X5 camera, but this is across the board with any of the lenses that you put on it, so it doesn't really matter. So the first thing is, as this has become kind of a heavy setup. Once I put a phone in here and maybe another accessory like a better microphone or whatnot, this becomes kind of heavy to carry around one-handed. It's still pretty light in compared to other handheld gimbals, like if you were to use a Ronin M or something like that with a DSLR style or mirrorless camera, that setup gets pretty heavy too. But this setup gets a little heavy to use and a little off balance once you put a phone in here and you try to use it. Now, I've been using it with a smaller iPhone, the iPhone SE, because the other phone that I was trying to use, the iPhone 6s Plus, will not fit in here unless you take the case off your phone. If you're a no case kind of person, then you're going to be just fine. Your phone will just barely fit in here. But my iPhone 6s Plus that I had would not fit. And when I had the Nexus 6P, it wouldn't even fit without a case. So this is not going to work with the giant phones of today. It will work with the medium to smaller size phones of today. And the bigger the phone you put in here, the more off balance this even continues to get. So with that said, you know, I can put my phone in here just to kind of show you what it looks like. It definitely is neat that you can shoot with a really nice camera and see the preview on your phone, have the video go straight to your phone, post it and share it. I mean, there's some really cool things that you can do here. And I'm not really going to get into those because I'm coming at this from the perspective of what I would use it for, which is professional shooting. So some have said, gosh, this would be the ultimate vlogging camera because when you power it on and it's all connected, you know, you can flip the camera around and film yourself. But the problem is that this doesn't have autofocus, like continuous autofocus. You can tap to autofocus, which is cool because, you know, that to me, that's kind of like manual focus with assist. So I can tap on the screen and focus on a point, which doesn't happen very quickly. If you're trying to focus on a moving object, it's going to have a hard time trying to find focus. So your only other option is to go into full manual focus, in which you have to use the screen to manual focus the lens. And that becomes kind of challenging because you'd have to have your face super up close to the screen in order to even tell if you're in focus. And there's too much going on to manual focus. Like if you're gonna use a gimbal and be in manual focus, you need a focus puller, somebody that's going to pull focus for you. And I mean, I guess you can hand them the phone and they could pull focus from it, but it's just not really that great of a situation if you really need to get the shot. If you really need to get the shot, it's best to have a more traditional style handheld gimbal, have somebody else with a monitor pulling focus for you. Of course, that is a lot that's involved, and this idea here is that you can do it all yourself. This is the more run and gun situation. It's obvious that it produces a great image. This Micro Four Thirds kind of mirrorless situation with these good lenses, which I've invested in several of these Micro Four Thirds Olympus lenses that do work on this gimbal. It produces great images. I mean, whether this camera is in the sky on my Inspire 1 Pro or on this handheld device here, it's producing good images. It's just, are those images going to maintain in focus when you're trying to do all the other things that are involved to run the camera? When you're using this, you're probably handheld or maybe even holding it two-handed and trying to navigate what's going on. The idea here is that this should be one-handed device and you shouldn't have to worry about using a second hand, but your second hand is always going to have to be there for adjusting focus, or you're going to have to be super vigilant to stay an equal distance away from your subject the entire time, which is hard to do when you're chasing them with a gimbal or, moving, running, walking, going upstairs, doing whatever you're doing. It is very hard to stay completely in focus. And if you want your image to look good, you're probably going to be using something like an ND filter like I do, so that I don't have to have my f-stop or my aperture all the way up to the max, f12, f15, f20, all the way up there, so that I can get depth of field. Like, I want some fall off, so I want to be shooting more like around f4, f6, f8, somewhere in that range. And it's really hard to maintain focus when there is no continuous autofocus here. Nothing has changed in that aspect of this device, although it has been out a while. I'm guessing that continuous autofocus will just never become a thing with the Osmo, and that's unfortunate. It does a great job of keeping things steady. I mean, as you can see in some of this footage, I was running and chasing after my kids, not really paying too close of attention to how I was holding the device. I've carried this while riding on a motorized scooter down the street. I mean, there's many different situations where I've tried to use this, and single-handed use, as long as you don't have a single point of focus that you need to maintain, it's a great device. It's just, if you're using this to follow somebody, if you're using this for a single point of interest, it's gonna be a little bit challenging for you, and that's kind of a bummer because it makes it less of a useful device. It's kind of loud too. You can hear the fan. And so with the microphone that's attached here, you can kind of pick up fan noise if you're in a quiet environment. When you're outside with most other noise that's going on, you're not really going to hear the fan noise of the gimbal head itself. And then you may even not want to use audio from here. You can also, plug in any form of audio, because they do have an audio jack here, and you could run audio any way that you want. I found that having this is better than nothing, because with this gimbal head, you're not going to get any audio because it doesn't collect any audio. With the standard gimbal head that the Osmo comes with, it does collect audio, but it's very useless audio. It's just not that good. So, this device is great. I mean, I think the Osmo, as it comes standard without any of these upgrades, is well priced. It's a good kind of run and gun device to have. However, when you start modding it out like this by buying a $100 adapter, by putting on an expensive gimbal on top of it, by investing in lenses, it just becomes kind of silly. It's really the only reason that you would want this setup is if you already had the gimbal because you have an Inspire 1 Pro. I would not recommend to anybody going out and buying all of this just so that you could have a handheld gimbal. It's just too expensive, and you're not going to get a good return on your investment when there are other options out there that are cheaper overall and probably better. So, I do like this device. It's very cool. It it's just super neat. There's so many things that are super neat about it. But as far as usefulness, it just falls really short. I'll leave it to you guys to decide if it's a good thing for you on an individual level. Obviously, you can go read the specs. You can see what's possible with this device. I just wanted to report on what my experiences are with it, where I found it useful and where I found it definitely not useful. So I hope that you can appreciate that. In the comments below, I would really like to hear your thoughts. Like, do you have experience with the Osmo? Where did you find it to be super useful? Where did you find that it left you high and dry wanting more? I would love to hear that, because my experiences are my experiences, and I can only learn and gain more understanding by sharing my experiences with you and hearing about your experiences with stuff like this. So thanks again for watching this video. I hope that you comment below. If you like this video or want to be notified when we have more videos, make sure to click that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.